Today's been weird.
Seriously weird.
I figure I'll just go with what just happened. So, for those of you that don't know, that haven't seen Breaking Bad, there is an episode with a fly in it. And in that episode, main character Walter White and his lab partner, Jesse Pinkman, not really a spoiler, I guess, because they worked together in the first fucking episode. Walter's, afraid of this fly as a contamination. And the entire episode so far has been my favorite episode. It's basically just these two guys in this lab, and so much crazy hilarity ensues. Well, just now, I went to go take a piss. And I was sort of talking out loud to myself. And what I was saying to myself, the video files that I have of Breaking Bad are in this .mkv format, and I can't edit them in Sony Vegas, unfortunately. But what I was telling myself, just walk in the bathroom and, as I'm getting myself ready and everything, and I say, if I could edit MKV, I would do a funny compilation of that fly episode. As I say to myself, that fly, a giant fucking fly, flies into the urinal and then lands in the fucking puddle as I'm pissing on it. And I can't help but laugh. I'm sitting here laughing and pissing at the same time. Because it's just too ridiculous. It's too insane that this has happened. It's just... I'm sitting here laughing for at least 30 seconds, realizing the insanity of my day. The beginning of my day was probably the most infuriating, and really, it was the end of yesterday. Actually, in a way, today, if you count every moment after I woke up, all of them have been kind of weird, but had a resolution in a sense, but so was the other thing, so I'll count it. The last 24 hours has been quite eventful. The one thing that's plaguing me right now is there's a fucking spider in my trailer. And when I came in here to record all of this, that bastard had already set up multiple strands, some of which were actually attached to my chair and even the floor. And I'm like, you little bastard. So I'm starting taking my lighter and I'm just lighting his fucking strands on fire and trying to hold the lighter under him so he'll oh hey, there's fire. Let's leave. Let's go up. I'll figure something out, do with that shit later. But going back to sort of the origin of the craziness that is this day, yesterday, before I went to bed, I was just trying to sort of finalize some things. And my computer was not having it. It just was not letting me do what I wanted to do. Being a huge pain in the ass. And so, I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I know what one of the main problems was. I was trying to transfer files from my phone to the computer, and the computer, for whatever reason, would not recognize my phone. So, I had some updates, and I'm guessing they were Windows 10 updates. I go ahead and I'm trying to take care of these updates. I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and close out everything, update and restart. I update, restart, and the computer doesn't want to start. It goes through the auto repair thing. It's telling me there's something wrong. It gives me this frowny face with this sort of weird bluish color screen, which apparently is the new blue screen of death. And just like the old blue screen of death, it never lasted long enough to really get an image of it. And you can't take a fucking screenshot of shit, not that I'm aware of. It's it would be nice if, unless there's something somewhere that I can find and I don't know about, it'd be nice if that image was logged somewhere that was easily findable. Just a simple log that tells you exactly what it, open it up and it shows you the image and all that other fun shit. But whatever. So after about, I don't even know, hour and a half, almost 2 hours, trying to bust my ass, figure out what the hell this was, I finally get it to do system restore. Well, then it freezes. I'm like, well, fuck. Restart, still having the same problem, so I'm trying to get back to system restore. I went into BIOS at one point just to see if there was a way to do something. No. No way to do anything through BIOS. After exhausting myself searching for avenues to resolve this issue, I finally go ahead and just say, okay, let's try the system restore thing and see if it just works on its own. So I throw it up, right? And then I go to bed because I'm fucking exhausted. I'm like, you know what? I'll get up, I'll go to shower later. I thought I was going to go to bed and have like a long period of sleep. But no, there was no way in hell I was going to be able to go to sleep with this shit not resolved on some scale. So I put it through the system restore again. Let it do its thing, not care about whether or not it's freezing, because you never know. It might just look like it's frozen and have nothing wrong with it. I wake up probably about an hour and a half later, because that's how I do. I'm not allowed to sleep. My body doesn't permit it. And I notice that it's got this window up. I'm like, oh god, what the hell is this? So I climb down from the bunk bed and check. It's like, oh, choose a restore point. Okay, fine. Click on it. It was like right before I had downloaded iTunes because I was trying to get this whole podcast thing, RSS feed thing done. And seriously, at this point, it's taken fucking forever for this stupid podcast thing to come into play. I mean, I would think it'd be automated, but I guess because of the way Apple does things, you know, they probably have an actual person looking into this, which, I mean, that's good and bad because now it's fucking taking forever for this shit to even become a thing. Now, granted, still don't really have a voice per se. I don't really have a thing to talk about other than myself. And I don't even know if anybody gives a shit. But nevertheless, here I am. Spider seems to be sort of chilling up there for the time being, not really dropping down, which is good. So anyway, I hit that spot, I get back up in the bed, and I pretty much sleep throughout the day. And then it's about an hour before I need to wake up, and, you know, I'm shifted, and I wake up, and I see the screen again, and it's got another box up, and I'm like, oh god, what is this? So I get down there, and I'm like, what? Oh shit, it's got some fucking error. I'm like, oh fuck, and it's telling me it won't restore, and I'm even more infuriated, which is now making the whole sleeping thing really hard. So I just let it do its thing. I climb back up into bed. I'm sitting here just kind of like looking at it while I'm trying to fall back to sleep. Because again, I still got like an hour and some change left over before I really technically need to wake up. Lo and behold, the pre-sign-in screen that I've got pops up. Calvin and Hobbes looking at space. It's pretty awesome. Fucking, I'll figure out a way to put a link in the description here. And I'm like, okay, fuck, let's go down there and then, okay, let's sign in and fuck it. Once I'm signed in, I don't even give a shit. I'll let it do whatever it's gonna do. Fine, let's go back to bed. You know, heart's racing because I've gone up and down into this bunk bed in the last, who knows, 5-10 minutes if that. It's getting close to my wake time anyway, but you know what? Fuck it, I want some sleep. So I get a little extra sleep and, you know, as life would dictate, it's kind of like waking up to a snooze every fucking 15-20 minutes, because that's basically what happened without the snooze. And then my alarms start going off, and those are set 15 minutes apart from each other. And I usually wake up after like an hour. Well, I get up after about an hour. I'm awake at 6 p.m., but I get out of bed at 7 so I can go shower and be at work at 8. So, speaking of which, moving on to the next one, I shower. I'm a little late to work, but usually the lateness to work is balanced out by the lateness of punching out of work. So I tend not to stress about it too much. And I've still got, like, I'm not completely ready for work, but because of where I am and everything, it's not like a huge deal just walking from the break room back to the trailer, get some stuff, and then, you know, leave. I get to the trailer and I pull my key ring off, but there's nothing on my key ring. There's no key. It's got one of those little plastic tabs that tries to fucking make its way around, and it's really, really a huge pain in the ass. But I come to find out, it's also useful, which is the worst kind of double-edged sword. It's a huge pain in the ass and makes life difficult when using it, but it also made my life easier when I found it. So I retraced my steps and just walked back. Funny thing is, I didn't walk back into the break room, and I probably should have considered that. But as I was walking in that direction, I kind of hook a right back towards where the building is that I take my shower. And I saw it laying there on the ground. I was like, all right, hey, you. Pleasure meeting you again. You know, we shouldn't run into each other like this ever again. So I walk back to the trailer, I get ready, and I start my job. Well, a little while later, this is really the last thing. Other than just kind of weirdness all around. I mean, it's been raining all day too, so. But I'm walking around into this warehouse that we've got. You know, it's got a bunch of, it's kind of like a semi-storage unit for some of the fishermen in the area. And, you know, I guess just like public storage or whatever, you can store your shit in there for a fee. Well, I always scan them to make sure that A, they're closed, B, that nobody's trying to break into them or steal from shit or anything, and that, you know, like, they're like basically big wooden boxes with, well, they're big wooden frames with a wooden top so that they can put shit on top of it, but they're surrounded by what looks like chicken wire. I usually go in and check these things about once an hour or so. You know, I'm not super vigilant about checking them, but I'll go in there, you know, point my light at the locks, kind of shine it into the boxes and stuff just to make sure, you know, no dead bodies, you know, stuff like that. And on one of my passes, I noticed something sort of like out of the corner of my eye in one of the boxes I just passed, and I'm like, what the hell was that? So I scan my light back, and it happens again, but I'm like, wait a minute, that... And then it happens again, and I'm like, I'm trying to follow it, and it's a fucking bat! Like a tiny little bat that's, you know, maybe got a wingspan of like 6, 7, 8 inches, tops. It's a tiny little thing. Fucking flapping around in one of these relatively empty, not really claimed by anybody boxes. And I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? Why is this happening? What is this weird, surreal situation of just running into a damn bat? It's like, now I know what everybody feels like when they see Batman for the first time. Maybe not. Weirdest fucking day. And here's the weird part too, I think. This is just my own delusions, I guess. I would say that to a degree I'm superstitious. Not a lot. Like, you know, knock on wood, I'll do that. If I find a penny and its heads, I'll probably throw it away now, because fuck pennies. Fuck pennies. Funny thing though is, when I was younger, my mid-20s mostly, I'd find a penny and then I'd throw it on the ground again, and it would almost always land on heads. Then I realized I was using all the luck up. Or, you know, it's just a 50-50 thing, and, you know, I hadn't done it enough times to really kind of evaluate it out and all. But whatever. But it's not a full moon. Plus, one of my superstitions is actually having positive days on the full moon. Now, granted, today has been surprisingly positive with all the weird, strange, and or negative things that happened prior to. So it's like one of those balancing act days. In a way, it's kind of like a rainstorm. You know, when it rains, you shouldn't think of this as bad weather. The reason why, because it's not bad at all. It's equalizing. The reason why it rains is because cold and hot plus pressures, which are typically associated with temperature as well, and or affect... See, that's the thing. Cold affects hot, and hot affects cold, and high pressure affects low pressure, and low pressure affects high pressure, and then warm air causes low pressure because of rising air. Well, that causes sinking air, which also makes air colder. And it's all a big conglomeration of fluid and thermodynamics. But it's an equalizer. That's what that event is. It just so happens that when you get things like tornadoes and hurricanes, it's a big equalizer. And it can cause destruction, sadly. Hence why we typically call it bad weather, because there can be bad things associated with it. But it's not like the weather is evil. Just like today wasn't evil. It wasn't bad. It wasn't really a bad day. It was weird. And that's really what it was. It was just a weird ass day. And I'm waiting for it to fucking end.